We're
Hey,
live.
we're live. Let me adjust my camera. I'm at my desk, which I'm not at very often. I would move the wrong way. Anyway, I was telling Ellis that I got this book in today called Comic Book Anatomy by a guy named Ken Landgraf, and I'd never heard of Ken Landgraf. But I'd seen this book on eBay, and it wasn't cheap. I spent about $30 with shipping everything on this, and it's very solid drawing. I'm excited to get this. I mean, I don't know if I can flip it on Holter's camera, but it's really cool looking stuff. But anyway, he was in the late '70s, early '80s. He worked in comics, worked at Marvel. NDC. He and coincidentally, like yesterday, Cartoonist Kayfabe released a episode that talked about his book, among other things, New York Outlaws. But it was about him, and this was coming in the mail, and I had got it off eBay, and I'd emailed him because I'm friends with him on Facebook, and I'd sent him an email and just said, hey, I want to pick up this book. And he's like, yeah, you can get it from my eBay store. It's probably the easiest thing. But we've been kind of emailing back and forth. And I mean, the art is this art is very rough. I am not color coding it, candy coating it, but everything is broken down in all these pictures. And what I want to do, Ellis, well, one, and this is obviously a home print job. I mean, this is a plastic binder. I'm not gonna pull it off because I'm able to get it back on, but it's a plastic binder. If I took this off, it'd be a bunch of loose pages.
Right.
And so what I'm gonna do is I am gonna take that off, and I'm gonna take it to Office Depot and have a spiral bound, because I think it'll be easier to use then. But I'm gonna go through and copy all this, and I said, well, it's kind of rough. I'm gonna try and make it better. But copy what he did, and it's full of great. I mean, here's a page. Unfortunately, it's not organized at all. Here's a page. I don't know if you can see it. And it talks about cast shadows.
Does he bother with having a contents?
No.
No contents. He just
here we go, man.
He really is a guy after my own heart. He just throws stuff together.
Yeah. Yes, this is very much an Ellis way to do things.
Yeah. I mean, I saw that that video you sent through. What was that called? That was
Cartoonist Kayfabe.
Cartoonist Kayfabe, and it was Kayfabe, and
I'm gonna share my screen now because I got to scan some stuff in tonight.
Okay, that sounds good.
Keep talking.
Yeah, I need to change my name. I didn't realize those guys could. They apparently went in when I joined them on screen on Drawn and Quartered and changed me to Pontiff Elect Ellis Goodson. Can you imagine that? I had no.
I cannot imagine that.
No control over that. I could have been named anything. And Fly Fox Pro joined us. I don't know if he stayed, but he bounced in. He is here. Yeah.
Oh, good.
They have a good channel. Yeah, they do. They have a great channel.
Their channel's great.
Blacklist Universe.
Share my screen. Firefox doesn't like that idea.
Oh, what? No, he says so many monitors. Yeah, well, that's when I was trying to get things to show up the way I think I want them to show up. That's not the way I want it to show up. And that's all right, but this is better. And in other words, I'm just flailing around here.
Yeah, you think we'd be better at this by now?
Yeah, I know. Well,
I'm not on my.
The big disappointment was I had us all ready to go with OBS, but you can only watch your lips move so long before you say, okay, that's enough of that. We're out of here.
Okay, there we go. Am I sharing my screen?
You are sharing a double of yourself.
Okay.
There we go. Now you're sharing a screen with an icon.
Okay, that's okay.
Which is, it looks like
okay.
it. Add to
Okay.
stream. There it is. Hey,
Okay.
there we go.
Are we good? Okay. I
Yeah,
just
I'm
want
about as big as I want to be. I think I'll try to share a screen too.
I'm gonna.
I did earlier.
I'm paranoid, so I keep my webcam turned towards the wall. Yeah.
It's probably a good idea.
Yeah, just in case. I mean, just in case. Anyway, uh, so tonight I'm scanning pages. I've been lettering. And so tonight I got scanned. So I got the first 4 pages lettered, and so now I got to scan, which I don't like scanning, but got to be done. Can't be helped.
Yep.
Anyway, but yeah, I got that in the mail, and I got a Hawkeye thing in the mail, a Hawkeye graphic novel from the '80s that I ordered off eBay. My work is paying me to compensate for using my equipment when I worked at home. It's like $60 a month, which is going to end because I'm at work now. But it's PayPal, and I mean I hate to complain about getting cash, but PayPal is useless in terms of like getting stuff unless you want to pay a fee to transfer to your bank account, which I don't want to. So it's in my PayPal account, and it's a couple $100 at this point, and I'm just using it to buy stuff off eBay.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of my secret eBay stash. But anyway, so how are things going, Ellis?
Pretty good. I guess I'm now I can't. I don't see your screen. I started to try to show a screen. Let me get rid of that one and see if yours comes back. Add to stream. What is going on here?
All I know is my webcam's pointing at the wall, so I can take my pants off.
Okay, well that helps.
Yes. I don't know what it helps, but it helps something. Yeah, it was fun. I had to laugh because I didn't watch all the video, but I watched part of that video you sent me where you were on the Hero Punk's show.
Yeah.
And he goes, Scott did digital?
Yeah.
It was funny because he seemed so shocked. Yeah, unfortunately I'm at the digital stage of this comic, which I'm not happy about. I got to scan a couple pages in. It's taken me forever to letter them because I had to do all those signs. Those signs killed me.
Oh,
so
yeah.
The first 4 pages of this comic took place at a serial killer convention. And so, and it had booths like a comic convention. So I had to, and I should have done those a long time ago, but I was like, I don't want to. And then now, I got to go back in and make it up. But this is where working digitally at my day job constantly helps because I'm very comfortable doing this sort of thing. It's almost like muscle memory.
Hey, Scott, share your screen again, and let's see if we get that back.
I don't know if I can. Hang on.
Oh, there it is. There it is. Never mind.
Okay, I was gonna say I'm in the middle of.
I've probably made this my whole work area too small because of the OBS thing.
Oh yeah.
If I'd had it stretched out, the option would have been there. Oh well, we'll see about that. I'll do that now. See if I can still add mine. Yeah, this is not going well, is it? I'm barely paying attention to you while I'm trying to. What do they call that? Run thing. Yeah, that's
riveting content as always.
Yeah.
I like this microphone in here and speakers and stuff because you sound pretty good.
Yeah. Ever since I simplified things, it's what it took, I guess.
So I'm scanning these pages, these inks at 1200 DPI black and white. Which to me seems amazingly big, but I'll reduce them down to 400 when I put them in my Photoshop document, and I'll show some of that because these are. But what's funny is like a black and white, they're still only like 31 meg, so it's not a real big file in black and white.
Mm-hmm.
Those would be huge in color. But that was what I was advised to do by what's his name, Riley Brown, the Deadpool.
Mm.
I'm a member of the comics experience, and I asked, "Hey, I'm scanning these. What should I scan them at?"
What did he say?
And he said 1200 DPI, and then you save when you're done. You save it as a TIFF, and it's all black. There's no gray. Save it as a black and white TIFF. And the TIFF apparently doesn't anti-alias it, which I think we've debated that before, because you seem to think you want that, and I'm like, you don't want that.
Hmm.
I think
well, I know anti-aliasing is
bad,
desirable if it aliases to a color, it's obviously going to have those remnants of color. If it aliases to transparency, it shouldn't give you a big problem.
Yeah, well, I'm happy with how this is going, so you know. But anyway, so I went through I spent forever erasing and touching up the inks, and so now I'm at the scanning stage. It's taken me, the lettering has been taking me forever because I had to do those first 4 pages. I had to go back in and draw signs, and that's the kind of stuff that takes forever if you don't just want it to look like crap, which I don't.
Sure.
You know, I don't want to get this far and then be like, oh well, we'll just phone it in. You know, and last week I drew that logo, and so the page that the logo was on, I think, is the first page. I think it's page 5, and it'll be on page 5, and then on page 4 I use it twice. So that'll pop up for anyone that. Oh no one watched this last week, did they? Because we were. Yeah.
It would amaze me if someone did. Yeah.
Oh, because it was during the great YouTube outage.
Oh, yeah, we did have a YouTube outage, didn't we?
Yep. Yeah, I got in trouble because my wife wanted to know what I did to the TV, so she couldn't watch YouTube. She does Pilates videos, and she was convinced that I had messed something up.
Boy, Pilates is hard. I'm surprised. It is.
Oh, she does all kinds of stuff like that.
Well, yeah, but it's just, it requires so much, like, stick it out there and leave it out there kind of muscle.
Yeah.
Muscle power. Yeah.
My wife is skinny, but she's pretty strong. She's still running every morning. I'm in the office, so I'm not running. She's still running every morning.
Yeah, that's I just got rid of Photoshop. Decided that wasn't going to be working for us in terms of sharing the screen. So now I've got that much more memory going. I can also make your screen that much bigger. There we go. Composition. I got all my Blender notes sitting here. It's weird. I amaze myself. My brain, I don't even know where it goes sometimes in terms of like enthusiasms for things. I was just so hot about the idea of learning Blender.
I remember that.
And all of a sudden, just right in the middle of one tutorial where I had to repeat something on a lesson, which it wasn't a big deal. It was like, as a matter of fact, I think my thought on it at the time was, aha, this is just really nicely reinforcing this. But the next day, I had no enthusiasm for re-engaging with Blender. It was weird.
You know what that is? That is you're retired and you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. That's what that is, man.
That's pretty much it. At the same time, it was feeling like, man, I was, is there anything better than a free program that's as strong as Maya or 3D Max that you've got right there in front of you that you're getting a semi-mastery of? It's like, wow. I was just so stoked. And Then it's like, yeah, let's go back to the usual.
I think if I was going to really invest a lot of time in learning a program, it might be SketchUp.
SketchUp is good for what it is, but that capacities you get with a Blender is just so cool. We got a little echo. I
No, we
imagine,
do.
I imagine it's bouncing through to your. You've got your. You don't have your headphones on, do you?
No, I don't have my headphones on. I can put them on.
That's all right. It won't. No, I leave them off. We don't mind it bouncing around a little bit.
Nah, I don't mind. I took them off because I was concerned that was what our problem was earlier.
Yeah. I don't know what the problem is. We'll have to do something offline in terms of experimenting because I would like to have OBS capabilities. It's
I don't know what
like
is
all the OBS is basically like having video toaster or something right in your. I'm directing everything that goes on, what gets big, and I can scale it up. I could zoom in right now, even though you got something small. I could zoom in on it. It's just a lot more control. It's what all these guys are using, and it's also free.
Oh yeah.
It plays a little better with
Sorry about that.
with a PC, but it plays well enough with a Mac. There's a couple things you can do with a PC you can't do with the Mac. But all these guys that write their little apps and everything, there is that PC preference, and I'm happy for it. It's like everybody, if they're writing some malware, the first thing
they'll write it for a PC.
That's right. It's like, hey, leave my Mac alone. There's lots more PCs out there.
Oh yeah.
But that'll go away someday. They'll just include the Mac in their little
Yeah,
shenanigans.
it'll be easier to I think
Everything's going to get easier eventually. I mean, we're that much democratization of everything is going to go on.
Yeah.
In terms of like,
which I don't think is good, by the way.
No. I mean, we got to figure out some. Basically, the whole world needs to have a little dojo that says, "Hey, this is how you get your self-defense skills from this world we live in."
I was just gonna say, like in The Incredibles, if everybody's special, nobody's special.
Yeah, that's right. I was having some thoughts today about how tough it is to really, like you say, you're really influenced by John Byrne.
Yes.
Which, like, if a guy really wants to take a John Byrne direction, like I want to take say I wanted to take a really hard direction where I wanted to be, what's his name that did Catwoman and what's his name? I want to say Daryl something.
Darwin Cook.
Darwin Cook. Daryl.
His brother Daryl.
His other brother Daryl.
Yeah, exactly.
And so Darwin Cook, if I wanted to be Darwin Cook, I can't be unless I figure out certain things, and one of the things you've got to figure out is like level of detail as you move through, your shots. If you're like I was thinking about this when I was looking at Narwhal, which, as you know,
yeah, that's true. I think that's true.
You have to say that if you're a Narwhal and you're up close, you have no more detail than that architectural character that you've been using, where you do just a very quick notation about his outline and everything. You don't say, okay, now this guy's got eyelashes. No, he's still got the dots you've been using to depict to depict eyes with. You have to do that though. Well, I mean, you have to make rules for yourself.
Yeah, I agree.
For styles.
Well, hang on. so if you're going to, you have to do whatever if you're trying to ape somebody's style.
Yes,
that's what
you
you're
have
saying.
You have to make good notes about that aping.
You have to. Well, let's back up.
Okay.
Because I think you're kind of a little ahead on what I think you need to do. Because I think you need to start with how they construct the figure. We're talking about comic book people.
Yeah.
The first thing is, how do they construct a figure?
Right.
Because if you don't get that, you got to get that. You got to get that first. I'm convinced of that. Then if you get that, then you've got to then once you figure out like how do they construct a figure. In other words, like their proportions,
right,
and have the level of detail of musculature and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think you start addressing the other things that they do. And I think you have to look at, if you're talking about, depends on if you're trying to ape somebody's pencils or their inks, I think you almost have to use the same kind of tools that they use.
Yeah. I think we were just about to go through all of what makes a style: tools, level of detail, and measurement, and in terms of proportion, and
and then you got to break it down. I mean, because then you got to go look at like how they tell a story. You know,
their shot selections and stuff.
Yeah, their shot selections and all their stuff. Recognize this?
Oh yeah. That's the final, huh?
That's the final. It's going right here on this pamphlet or whatever it is. Oops. Need to turn on. Here's a tip. Is you want to scale your strokes and effects sometimes, and sometimes you don't.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so that has
yeah. See, before
embedded in it, it's going to scale the.
Yes, it wasn't.
Otherwise, they'd stay way too fat when you scale it in.
Right, and I keep that off normally because I want to be able to scale balloons and keep the width the same.
Sure.
So I'm putting it on here, and I'm going to kind of skew it a little bit because I want to look like it's on that paper that she's looking at. This is the kind of crap that I do that takes me forever to letter pages because I hate it when they don't do this stuff. It's just like you're taking shortcuts.
Tonight's drawn and quartered is going to be Gina Carrera, or I think that's her name, of The Mandalorian. You know, the female martial artist.
Never seen it.
I've never seen it either. It's you have to have the Disney Plus thing, I think.
Yeah, I ain't doing that.
No, me neither. I have been watching a lot of Netflix lately, and I tell you what, nobody does series better than Netflix, I don't think. I've been watching Enola Holmes, which is fun. It's got that girl from Stranger Things. And they've got the Queen's Gambit, which I've only seen the first one, but I'm pretty hooked. I'm going to be watching all.
Oh yeah, I've got that
6 or 7
coming from the library.
Oh,
the audio book.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I heard it's pretty good.
Speaking of the library, I got 1917 the other day. Now I'm going to watch that sometime soon. I watched the little special on it where they're going on and on about the idea of it being a single shot, but it's still the creation of the illusion that it's a single shot. Obviously they're just going to come up with little good techniques for linking up what has to be multiple shots. Obviously you can't have a single shot, even if you are.
Why not?
Well, because obviously you have to start and stop on your work day.
Oh, you're saying like it's a long, like multi-day shot? That's
no. Well, it's a film that takes as long as it takes to make it. So when you say something is a single shot, you aren't acting like it's a theatrical production that you were able to pull off a single shot with. It's still got to have the illusions of linked together shots, you know.
Well, I mean, depending on what you're talking about. Orson Welles did a single shot.
Well, a single long shot, yeah.
Right, but it
Well, when
wasn't.
they're walking through Tijuana and having the bomb explosion moment, yeah, that was
Yeah,
legit. But for that to apply to what I'm talking about with 1917, that would have to be their 2 hour runtime was a single shot. It looks like that. That's what they've achieved. It looks like the camera never comes off of the guy.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Okay.
I mean, I wasn't trying to be obstinate. Well, I kind of was, but
You were being pretty obtuse there, but I guess you wanted me to work on it.
I didn't know what you were. I didn't know if you that the entire movie was one shot.
No, that's the illusion they're after. That you are in his boots from the moment he gets his little assignment. He is driven to complete this assignment through that 2 hours worth of hell that we stick with him.
I don't know if you're watching what I'm doing.
Well, no, you're big screen. You're the big screen.
Oh, okay. So what I'm doing here is I'm going through and making some of this letter. I lettered this on my thumbnails, and so I kind of know where this all goes. Now I hadn't drawn it or inked it yet. But one thing I'm doing, I'm going through and making some of these letters bold.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
Words bold, and it's taken a lot of extra time, but I think it'll be worth it on the final.
It is worth it. It brings it to life so much more to have that bounce going on. A little bold here every now and then. You know, it does bring it to life.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, that's exact. And if you look in the 70s, they used to, I don't think they do that in comics anymore, but they should.
I don't know. No. Surely it's fairly common.
I don't think it is.
Really? You don't think so?
Yeah.
Are you being obtuse again?
Yeah. No, I don't think they do it now. They don't do thought balloons. I don't know if you knew that.
What do you mean they don't do thought balloons? Why wouldn't they? Oh, you mean the convention of showing little scalloped edges is frowned on now. Well, yeah. who doesn't do that? I mean, what do they do instead?
Marvel and DC.
Okay, what do they do instead?
They don't. You don't see the inner monologue of the character. Yeah, I know, it's ridiculous.
Okay.
I don't think there are any thought balloons in this comic, though, to be fair.
Oh, there's nobody that has a thought that. Well, I mean, what is usually served by someone having a thought? I guess it's. It's just something that always used to happen, huh? Well, it didn't happen that often. I guess someone having a thought. It usually got carried over. Spider-Man had private thoughts, though.
Well, that's what I was getting ready to say. In a solo book, it's handy.
Yeah. Exactly. No, that's the first thing you do if you're making a movie where you introduce some other clown that the guy gets to bounce off of, so that he can do all sorts of exposition.
Right. Otherwise,
don't do that. That'll kill us all. You know.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you got to really be a genius filmmaker and do it without a whole lot of dialogue.
Sorry about that. I accidentally clicked on the Illustrator icon, and so it took me to the Illustrator webpage. They want me to upgrade because apparently this isn't working for me.
They don't want you on anything but the whatchamacallit, the cloud.
Yeah, well, yeah, screw that. Another thing that I've done is I broke up. And this is the kind of crap that takes me forever. I am breaking up some of these. I want the wording to come naturally, and so I'm breaking up the word balloons because a lot of this was like one block of text in the script.
Yeah, that's the thing. You got to break all that up.
Yeah, and so that's and doing that.
That's a lot of work. A lot of work.
Well, it's just that, yeah. It's taking me about an hour to letter a page. If I was lettering professionally, I'd starve.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, that's okay.
Well, I tell you what, it adds so much. Yeah, that what you've got over there on the left hand side, where you've got all that stuff that you have to format to where it fits in balloons. Oh, it'll drive you crazy to get all that stuff crammed
This
in there.
this is where working in Illustrator every single day comes in.
Yeah.
I've got my balloons drawn. I've got a template that has layers. My lettering is all locked in position. I've got my layers, so I just got to drag them over there, and then I can. And this balloon I've drawn is a pretty good. It's a good shape that I can kind of resize for about anything. I've got a couple tails that I've drawn.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah,
You
you
know,
got your
and
tails and all that.
yeah, I'll just do all. This won't take me long at all.
Very cool.
From this point, you know. But yeah, this is if I was doing the comic again, I'd probably pay somebody to letter it because you can get a decent letter for like $10 a page, and it's kind of one of those. Just the idea of being done. Are you okay over there?
Yeah, sorry. I had to jump up and go find something and come back, so I may have missed a couple of words you said.
I basically all I said was if I had my way, I'd pay somebody else to letter.
Oh, yeah. Well, it all depends on what you think your time is worth and the aggravation. You're going to spend hours and hours getting that done, and that's.
Well, the thing about it is, it'll be the way I want it to look.
Yeah.
And I mean, you've seen the stuff I've been sending you. I think it looks really good.
I tell you what, that final touch of the letters dropping in right where they need to be and everything, that it's like it was just this magnifier of quality for everything that had gone before. It just makes it the real deal. What can you say?
Yeah. It's just like, holy cow! All of a sudden, I don't know if I told you. I had a dream. This is going to sound really weird. I had a dream, and in my dream, I was flipping through the finished book, and it was in color, and I was just like, "Holy cow!" And I don't remember what it looked like, but I just remember being just blown away at how good it looked in color. And if it doesn't, I'm going to be so crushed.
Well, it's the colorist at this point is kind of scary to even think about. You don't want that to pass out of your hands into somebody's that is going to not have a touch with it.
Well, the writer is paying for the colors and hiring the colorist. So I'm trusting that he's got it handled.
I hope so.
Boy, one thing I learned, I'll pass this on, Danny, but one thing I learned, where's I don't know where issue 1 went. Issue 1 disappeared.
Nat Nasser has shown up. So we have somebody else in the
chat.
Yeah.
One thing I learned, man, it helps to be organized.
Oh man.
Holy. Like I'm trying to find. Okay, that's the page. I'm trying to find a page because this door has a sign on it, and so I'm trying to find the page that I lettered that door in because I don't want to make that sign again. Oh, that wasn't it.
You're just talking about file management in general when you're doing big projects like this. Yeah, a guy could have so many disasters before.
Oh,
the thing with me is like, you don't want to do stuff over. Every now and then I'll get a little deja vu while I'm doing something. It's like, wait a moment. And then I'll discover that I've got another file where I've done that task.
Yeah.
I just let too much time pass between getting it done and coming back to it or something,
Well, I as I went along. So for this, for example, I have for each issue, I have a file with letters, which is Adobe, which is like this. It's the scan with the lettering on top of it. I save every page.
Mm-hmm.
I have a page with I'll have a folder of a lettered page for every issue or for every page. I have a page that's Photoshop files, which is everything put together but separated in layers. I have a page, and then I have a TIFF, which is which is everything compressed into one. It's layer. It's a single layer. But when you figure, well, it's a 22-page comic, man, you got a lot of files, that can get out of hand on you pretty quick.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I've got that DL and Odious thing where I've done. My system was to have like about 2 or 3 pages in one PSD, and then I did them in sequence of I forget how many it takes to finish off the story, but it's only like about 20 or so PSDs that if I do all 20, all those pages will be done.
Oh yeah.
That's another thing I've kind of like by the time I get back to that, cat. But I did do one thing today. I entered in my outline in the final draft, and so that is sitting there waiting for me to take a stab at, spend a little time at every day, and progress with that. So maybe I can do a multitask going forward. I hope so, because I want to get back to the DL and Odious.
Oh yeah.
Because it is a shame to let all that work. I've done the work you're doing right now already for DL and Odious.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, I've got all my balloons sitting there just waiting to have artwork filled in under them. So that has to be done just based on all that trouble. Yeah, that OBS. I'll send links to a couple of things where I do that. I'll do some solo stuff with that OBS so you can see the potential, and we'll have a couple more Zoom meetings where we get the glimmer, what do you call it? The gremlins and the glitches out of the way before we start.
Yeah, I think the video looked good.
Yeah, the video looked good. We just never could get our audio to happen.
Could you ever hear me? I never heard you.
I never heard you.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on there, and that could be my fault in terms of like my end of it not being, opening up to you in some way, not shaking hands with you in some way. I don't know what I might have done wrong.
I was in a Zoom meeting Sunday, and we didn't have any problems, but I wasn't running it.
Yeah.
So I say that to say at one point I got on my iPad.
Yeah.
The Zoom meeting I was in was on my iPad, and I felt like that might be part of the issue.
Still didn't work, so got no idea.
Still didn't work, but.
And of course, as you're, flailing around at that sort of stuff, it just gets more and more frustrating. So you just say, okay, that's enough of that.
Yeah, let's go back to StreamYard.
Yeah. Which is designed exactly to take a lot of little technical issues out of your hands and make it easy.
Yep. But hey, sometimes that's all it takes.
Yeah. It's like everybody, it was very common to hear these guys that they always were going to act like they were going to, what's that language that you can?
You talking about programming language?
Yeah, the for the OS, there's of course a Mac and a PC's OS, and then there's
Linux.
Yes. All these guys always acted like they were ready to do their Linux thing, to be rebels, but nobody really ever does that. There's just too much you give up by
Well,
not having those thousands of programmers that
yeah,
contributed
lots
to
of
the.
software. Even
Well,
though,
of course, Linux has had thousands of programmers working on
yeah,
it. I guess you could grab a version of one everybody's worked on.
yeah, I mean, but all the software to run on it, that's the,
Yeah.
oops.
Well, I don't know. I'd have to. I may study that issue. I assume there's a lot of stuff that once you got to where you were savvy enough to install a Linux system, maybe you could get a whole lot of software to run on it. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. That's not, I'm of the opinion life is short. Don't do anything that doesn't make you
Yeah.
money or make you
Oh
happy.
yeah. Yeah. It doesn't
You know?
frustrate the life out of you. Yeah. Nasser says I just picked up the Vampire, which is 1932. That's the one that he doesn't want me to run it. I'm not going to run it. It's just a mood piece anyway. It doesn't take you through a whole lot of story that is all that compelling. It just gives you a contiguous mood. And the Red River, though, there's Howard Hawks storytelling. Yeah,
Yeah.
I always liked that. Oh yeah, that would be running it. Sorry, the ending. You almost can't help yourself. It's like a spoiler alert. Ought to just be.
You can't help yourself.
It ought to just be a no. You and Dave can't help yourself. You start talking about endings and stuff. You can't even put the brakes on Dave sometimes.
Oh yeah, no. Dave is like stream of consciousness.
Yeah. Have you guys had a recent get together?
Well, we're supposed to do Friday, but we want to talk about Goldfinger, The Complete Martha Washington, and some book called Invisible Kingdom, which is 2 volumes of a trade. I haven't read any of that, and I'm like, I can't talk about all that on Friday. I will not be ready.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That is a lot.
I've been watching this little satirical show that tries to be the old men's magazines from the 50s and 60s, those titles, like Wizards Rip My Flesh and Hitler Fed Me to Sex Crazed Women and all that those sort of titles and those sort of themes. And it does, in fact, feature Hitler in every one of them. Every episode begins with the running gag. And of course, kill Hitler. So on every one of these guys' missions, they go out to kill Hitler.
Gotcha.
But one of them decides, among the many satirizations they do, they satirize kaiju and all that. But they've got one called Trapped in Hitler's Sex Kitchen or something like that, where they're basically throwing in a little taste of everything that the early Sean Connery Bonds. They've got a little Dr. No, little not Thunderball, Russia with Love, a little Goldfinger. It's quite a kick because you get exactly all the little gags. And this Hitler's got a production line. They're producing solid gold automatic grease guns, that have got just a little more special capability. And, it's pretty funny.
Okay, so now this page, except for a little bit of erasing I got to do. Right there is done.
Ooh, look at that. You got it in really close there.
Oh yeah.
So that's got 0 aliasing. I can tell it. I can see it, but we're really close.
Oh yeah, we're zoomed in real close.
Yeah.
Again, this is we're working in Photoshop and Illustrator every single day. It pays off. It's like, okay.
That sounds like you're making that sound effect where you.
Oh, when It's me
Where,
zooming
where,
in and
where you
out.
got where you're going back and forth on your cheeks, when you're
Oh
when you're trying to simulate another sound. Never mind.
yeah. Okay, that's that, and then I'm
Vulgar.
gonna. Uh,
That's the other thing. There's season 1 of that Danger 5. So it's got a season 2 of it. And I said, wow, cool. I get more of it. I fired up season 2. And it was like completely different people had made it. It had gone long enough before they fired up production again that everybody looked different. I'm all the way to going to having completely different body types. And they dropped about 2 guys I liked. And and the jokes just went from kind of cutesy, vulgar to just out and out, nearly obscene.
oh,
And it's like, man, you guys. And the final blow is that the edits just became just so much clumsier. The edits were, just weren't there. The other one had such. You could tell half the humor was based on how they cut it.
oh yeah.
Hey, Rusty Dale. Hey, fellas, how's things? Things good, I guess. Scott and I have had an adventure together of frustration, and we're here now. And Scott's working on another
Letters.
frustrating thing, letters. He's getting his big giant project lettered now, or finalized. But he's organized. He made a point about that.
Working on it.
If you get organized, you aren't reinventing the wheel every time you open a page. You get
that's exactly what you want to do. You lost your mind.
Yeah.
Don't do that. That's the way to madness.
Yeah.
You gotta be.
You got to have your conventions.
Yeah. I should, and it took me 4 issues to figure. Or it took me about 3 issues to figure that out. Really.
Hmm.
Okay, let's see. Save that.
Have you been watching anything special on your cable?
No, I've been
Not having the time.
not really. Okay, so what's been going on with me lately is because I injured myself back in September. I hurt my back basically, but I actually think it was longer than that. And so I've been going to physical therapy, and I've got all these exercise. I got to do like 10 minutes worth of exercise like 3 times a day, and all this kind of stuff. And by the time the day's over, I may watch. I usually end up just watching something on YouTube, somebody's YouTube thing. And
No, YouTube is thankfully out there because that's the way I like to be in control completely. Who can watch commercials anymore? Even though YouTube's got its own little brand of kind of commercials, it's like you can stand 5 seconds worth of commercials.
Yeah. Oh yeah. See, so here I'm going to use that thing again. The Speed Demon Run. Now this one will be bigger, obviously. I need to put that on my. One thing I'm doing on this issue that I hadn't been doing in the past is I'm putting my signs on a separate layer, which I probably should have been doing all along. That I'm saving it in Photoshop as a separate layer, just to make things easier. And again, I got to go. And again, this is a page that has. So I got to mess with everything I did on the last one. I got to do on this one. Like I said, next issue or next thing I work on, I'm hiring the lettering. It's just I'd be done with it now. That's the frustrating part.
Yeah. I thought of you the other day. I was on some sort of something on YouTube that was talking about James Dean and
oh yeah,
and shooting Rebel Without a Cause and things like that. Oh, it was about Natalie Wood, how she got her job due to some sort of car wreck that they had that introduced her to man in some better way or something like that. But the thing was that Jimmy Dean was in that knife fight and actually got cut.
Oh yeah.
Of course, man did in fact call cut when he was injured, and it supposedly made Dean just explosively angry. He was
Really?
he was in it. It's like don't waste my energy right now.
I've read. I've read that. I forgot about that. Yeah,
He was so in it.
Yeah,
It's like let's not waste this.
He was a method actor, man.
Yeah. We're having a knife fight. What do you want, man? What do you want out of us?
Yeah,
but at the same time, if you got a really
you're angry,
serious slash, you gotta say stop.
Yeah. Yep.
Of course, you really the those serious injuries. You fall out of your whatever groove you were in as an actor and start hopping around or whatever.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, yeah.
I forget what I was hearing the other day where someone was startled by some director that was up to no good with it was supposedly Treasure Sierra Madre. John Huston put a mouse trap under the rock that was supposed to have the
snake or the lizard.
The big lizard, the dangerous, poisonous lizard. What are those called?
Was it a Gila monster?
A poisonous Gila monster. And he put a mouse trap under there, and it supposedly, snapped, and of course scared him. Bogart, it's interesting to read. They made, of course, the first one Bogart, owed so much to Huston from was a Maltese Falcon there. Which at that point, I guess, was version just about 3 of that, I think, of the Maltese Falcon. One of them was.
They've done it multiple times.
They liked the story basically, but they always messed it up. It's like you say, hey, that's a great story. Now let's
change it.
Let's change everything about it. And so you come along, Huston hands it to his secretary, and she just transcribes the book into a script form, and Huston comes back and says, yeah, this is a shooting script, thanks. And you get the movie you got. It was interesting. As a matter of fact, I just recently, I've got about 25 more days to watch it, but I've got a rental of Treasure Sierra Madre.
I could lend you my DVD.
Oh, you got a good DVD of it?
Well, I'm not good.
Oh, of course I could get it from the library too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You know what I did that kind of preempts something that you had planned for us? I just don't think we're ever going to get back together for a Classic Cinema podcast ever again. Your movie, I watched it on YouTube the other day.
It's on YouTube?
Yeah, it's got a really good print. It says it's going to interrupt you with commercials, and then it doesn't, which is cool.
Oh, will you send me the link?
I will send you the link. I'll find it. We're talking about It, the Terror from
Beyond Space.
Is it Beyond Space or Out of Space? I'm not sure.
It, the Terror from Beyond Space.
Okay, It, the Terror from Beyond Space. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's still engaging, and the the groovy thing about that story is how short it is. So it's only a little over an hour long, and it's good though. I mean, it does its thing in a no frills manner, and there's certain kind of genius kind of like concepts that just work well. And of course, everybody, when they get a concept like that, it gets copied.
Yeah, that's how you end up with Alien.
Exactly, yeah.
Or theoretically.
Yeah, yeah. Alien and Planet of the Vampires. Yeah, the combination of the two. And then you ask Ridley Scott, and he supposedly has seen neither.
I've
Seen
never
neither.
seen it
Yeah,
before. I've
yeah.
never seen that.
Um, I'm probably sure he probably ran across Mario Bavo's Planet of the Vampires at some point or other. Speaking of Ridley Scott, I saw someone referring to. I'd forgotten that Cormac McCarthy had anything to do with it, but the had you ever seen that movie that Ridley Scott directed called The Counselor?
Uh,
With the guy that played the robot in his
an Alien?
yeah,
No.
in the other Alien movie, Prometheus.
No, I've not seen that.
Well, The Counselor is interesting. I mean, it made quite an impression on me, and it was, yeah, it was that dark Cormac McCarthy kind of stuff. It even featured Javier Bardem or whatever, the guy that played the goofy looking guy in No Country for Old Men, the killer.
Oh yeah.
And but it's quite a movie. It's it's pretty almost a horror story, really, in terms of like how dark it gets. But it's very matter of fact about the awful stuff that these people involved in the drug trade are capable of. So it really is their day at the office, in spite of how horrifying what they get up to is. And it shows how, someone that engages with that, thinking, well, there's money to be made here. You're making a deal with the devil if that's how you're thinking on it.
Yeah.
I guess that's the big message Cormac McCarthy was making when he wrote the story. Even though I think that was him stretching himself, where it's like saying, yeah, I'll work with you. I'll write a script. I don't think that existed as anything but a movie script. The thing I'd like to see, the number one thing I'd like to see that Cormac McCarthy might give rise to would be Blood Meridian. That would be something else. Because as dense as the language is and as hard to penetrate it as a reader goes, the story is fairly simple. It's just following this bloodthirsty gang around and their day to day in terms of like how they exploit the times they're in. It's just dog eat dog. And it would make a very good movie, very compelling. And then the one after that would be his own story. Suttree would be a fascinating thing to reduce to telling. He's done that thing called the trilogy. Have you ever seen All the Pretty Horses or something like that?
No.
I've seen it.
What is All the Pretty Horses?
I think I've got that title right. It's where these three guys cross the border in an attempt, a rebellion against something that's going to happen to them, I think, in terms of like splitting up their family or something like that. So they decided they're ready to go live wild across the border in Mexico. And of course, they get into all kinds of trouble, find a little love story and a couple other things. And then and I think one guy loses his life, if I'm not mistaken, kind of tragically, of course. And so they go through a lot of stuff, and then it just cycles back. They've been changed by it all, and it's got that what's his name that was in The Incredible Mr. Ripley.
Who is that? That's not Matt Damon.
Matt Damon, yeah.
Oh, it is Matt Damon. Matt Damon.
Yeah, Matt Damon. I'm going to look it up and make sure I've got it right. All the Pretty Horses.
I think I've heard of that movie, but I don't think I've ever seen it. I wonder if I've seen.
Well, it's called the trilogy in terms of like. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Produced and directed by Billy Bob Thornton. And
oh, really?
And it's got Matt Damon and Penelope Cruz in it. Yeah, interesting. And it's part of what is considered the Border Trilogy. And I think that trilogy includes Blood Meridian. I've got to check on that. Let me find that highlighted word trilogy and all. Yeah, it's a bleakness when you say Cormac McCarthy, you know it's going to get bleak, you know.
So what's taken me forever on this page is all these balloons I'm breaking up again because I don't want I don't think you want if you're putting a comic together, you don't want the reader to just be confronted with big blocks of text.
No.
And so stuff like this I'm breaking up.
Yeah, it's great to give everybody a break on.
But I think that's out of fashion. I mean, I think they do more of that now. That big block of text. Because there are some comics I look at and go, I am not reading this crap.
No, the Border Trilogy is All the Pretty Horses. That would be the first one. Second one is called The Crossing. And the third one is called Cities of the Plain. And I have read every one of those, and I can tell you what the Pretty Horses is about because I've seen the movie. But the other two, I don't know what they're about. I couldn't tell you. I remember the Cities of the Plain ends with a guy that everybody, he could have been cared for by people, but he decides to live so totally alone, and I think he dies under a bridge or something like that. You know, again, that bleakness. It's like that's the thing. The child of God, I think of that for bleakness. Cormac McCarthy. I tell you what, if you decide you're a completist on Cormac McCarthy ever, you are in for some.
Oh gosh, yeah. Did he write? What was the movie about the people where there was no food?
Yes, The Road. Yeah.
The Road.
Bleak.
Oh
I'm
my
telling
gosh.
You. Yeah.
It's like, what?
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing you want to be more uplifting than a story about a father and a son, and he's just not going to go there for you.
What happened to all their food in that? Do you remember? Was it a virus?
It was more like
like a
volcano eruption. It just seemed like everything went dark one day and nothing could be raised after that. You know, I mean, it just the whole environment just went kablooey, and you know, you could shuffle along in the continuous gray of it all, but that's all you got to do. You know, he never got specific on what happened. It was just, you know, because
they were wandering around. They went to the house and the people were cannibals.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is great. You know,
using a shape to chop a speech balloon, short matched it to a panel border. Is that Rusty Dale? Are you saying that's what you're realizing that Scott is doing?
Yeah, that's what I did up here to get it. It wasn't a panel border. It was, so this guy on this boat is throwing up. The joke is this is a guy named Bob Sally, who's a co-writer, who's a writer, friend of the writer of this book, and he's throwing up, and then somebody in there's going, "Damn it, Bob!" Well, I wanted to look like it's inside there, so I chopped it. But yeah, I used the Pathfinder tools. I've been using the Pathfinder tools on all this to connect the balloons and everything. again, I mean, this goes back to this is what I do like all day, every.
This is a great skill, though. I mean, we're watching you go through this stuff, and you're doing stuff that's hard, doing it the way I do it in Photoshop.
No,
Yeah,
I never
yeah,
do this in Photoshop.
yeah.
In fact, I tried to hire Ellis to do my letters, and he
Uh,
said, "Well, I do it in Photoshop." I go, "Nope."
yeah, yeah.
And it wasn't that
You
you
have
couldn't
to
have
be
done
able
a
to
good
come back and
job.
you have to be able to come back and edit them. Yeah.
Exactly. That was exactly it. John Byrne letters he does his balloons in Photoshop. I don't know what he letters in it, maybe Illustrator, but he's pretty smart. He'll draw the shape and then just kind of with a big brush just draw the balloons, and that's
Hmm.
probably not a bad way to do it. Honestly, that may be
Hmm.
faster than what I'm doing.
Oh, I see what you're saying. To go ahead and yeah, I do
Yeah,
something
he
like
doesn't
that.
draw it. He just gets
Once
a
I
big
will. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he gets a big brush and like just blobs out of shape,
Hmm. Hmm.
and he just Control Z's it until he's happy with it,
Right.
and then he keeps it. But I didn't realize what he did. I don't think I'd change this though. I think this works pretty good for me. Again, I mean, I do Illustrator all the time.
Well, look at that. Rusty Dale appreciates having seen that. Well, now you can rewind it and watch it again there, Rusty Dale,
Oh yeah,
in terms of like how Scott did it, because he says he sees it a lot in the Illustrator, I guess that's what that is, AI files we get for localization, but wasn't sure exactly how it was done. Yeah,
yeah. I have an old version of this is Illustrator CS2
yeah,
because I'm not because I'm philosophically opposed to renting software.
right.
So I stick with this, which works for me. I'm not taking anybody else's files or giving anybody these files, so it doesn't matter. And if I did, I could give them a PDF. But on here, the tool I'm using is this tool right here, the Pathfinder tool,
Hmm.
and I'll do it a little bit slower on this one. Okay, because
Okay.
it's the same conceit. Let me grab some.
I'll make it all about you. I'll make you the entire screen. Here we
Oh
go.
boy. Okay, so let me zoom in. Okay, so it's the same thing. The only difference is I've drawn these shapes. So so what I'll do is I'll put the tail right here. I'll kind of line everything up. This is going to be difficult because I don't want it going in her eye.
Right.
Uh, in fact, I'm gonna steal that tail for this. And I've got these tails drawn. I have 3 or 4 tails drawn. I just kind of put them where I want them. Now, so like here, I'll hide that layer. So I got the shift key held down. I'm selecting this, and then I come over to the Pathfinder, and I forget what that's called, combine, I think. Now in this version, you have to expand it, but in the new one, you don't have to.
Hmm.
Same thing there.
Okay, so those two things now, because they are vectors that
Yeah, they're completely
it
joined.
understands it. That merged it up, and wow,
Yep.
that is really cool.
That's it. And so what I did with the thing was I did the same thing. I just drew a box, and then it needed to be
Yeah,
at an angle. So I grabbed the thing and then just
no, that's a great little tool. That's great.
angled. And I can't grab it, but anyway, I just angled it how I wanted it. So
Cool.
that's what I did.
Pathfinder.
I use the Pathfinder, and you can do. Let me show you some Pathfinder tricks real quick.
Okay,
Hang on, let me save this in case I crash it.
Pathfinder tricks. That's what I'll name this one.
Pathfinder tricks. Okay, so hang on. Let me find my swatches. Let's see. I want to make these so you can see what I'm doing.
Okay, yeah, sure.
And let me make one more. Okay, so I'll put that over that. Okay, so let's put it over this so you can see a little bit easier. So if you want to punch that through that, you can, and this may be elementary to anybody, but you use this command, which is apparently it's just subtract from shape area, and it will punch the top item through the bottom one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you got that. Now again, if I don't but unexpand it, it still retains that. And some people recommend not doing that. And I think the newer Illustrator, the one at work, does it automatically. I think it's a setting that I've got set because I would never leave this. But anyway, you can expand it, and then you've got that shape. So
yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot like Flash. Yeah, Flash would do stuff like that. Yeah.
So nobody uses Flash.
Well, become the Adobe Animate.
Okay. Anyway, so then there's this that will get, like, if you want that center section to do the intersect, and it'll do it with the intersect. And I won't expand it. That gives you that. And then you can go if you want the opposite, you do that, and it punches out the middle section. And that's literally, we have two shapes, the C and then this rectangle here. And again, these are two. In fact, I'll tell you, the artist I hired at work, a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, a couple of years ago, he got the job literally because his portfolio was very rough. And I told him this. I was very upfront with him. But he got the job because I looked at his stuff, and I could tell he was using the Pathfinder tool. And I was like, if he's using the Pathfinder tool, he's got some sort of training. And you know, and he was a nice guy and seemed personable and all this. It seemed like he'd fit in with the group. And so I hired him, and he's been a great hire. He's really been quick to learn stuff.
Well, you know, yeah. It's like your job.
What?
Why that's doing that?
What?
Oh, got a major echo right now.
I was leaning forward. Maybe I leaned forward too far.
I think it's about time to quit. I'll send you that link on the Terror from Beyond Space later.
Okay, yeah, do that.
And I guess we're calling it a night.
Okay, sounds good.
1 hour, 11 minutes worth. Take it easy. Well, let me end the broadcast.
Yeah, in the broadcast, I want to talk to you a little bit after we're done.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us.